and welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be carrying on my social timeline, looking at my early to mid teenage years in this video. So carrying on from last week, so in last week's video I looked at my late childhood and how the final year of primary school, year 6, was the best year of my life because I finally had a friend, because I'd gone through most of my primary school years without any real meaningful friendship. So at the tail end of my primary school years, and I finally had a friend, was really good. Even though that friendship was up and down, we often fell out, and I still spent a lot of time alone or playing with younger kids or being rather irritating and just kind of not really fitting in. For at least some of that time I did have a friend, and I do remember that year as the best year because also at school I was learning all the things I was interested in at school, like the human body, which I was really, really intensely interested in at that age. You know, I had learned how to join in with some skipping games in the playground, and I was just really enjoying school. In actual fact, I enjoyed year 6 so much that I didn't actually want to go home on the weekends. It was it's kind of funny because that was the only year out of my old schooling I actually had that feeling. I was really excited about starting secondary school. I had high aspirations for the future. I would have friends and I would be transformed. I was becoming a little more aware of this age, sort of like 10, 11, that I was different to the other kids. It was first kind of like dawning on me that I was a little bit different, but I didn't really delve into it too deeply. I didn't think about it too deeply. I didn't question about it. It's just a sort of vague background feeling that I was a little bit different, but it didn't bother me at that age. But I did feel that what I was thinking that once I started secondary school, that I would try my hardest to kind of put my past behind me and start from a new leaf, a new chapter, by really trying to fit in. And that was the first time that I think I started to mask a little bit, because before secondary school, when I was at primary school, I didn't mask at all. I just had no social awareness, absolutely none at all. It was non-existent. And then gradually I did start to develop a little bit more social awareness, but it was only a small amount at this stage because I was still, I still wasn't too aware of my difference, but it was just, I guess, gradually starting to click that I was a bit different and that I needed to maybe try and fit in more. So, but I thought that I would be able to do that and that everything would fit into place and that, things would go just fine. That's what I really sincerely thought, and I was excited about starting secondary school because I really did see it as this new chapter. I had this kind of rather naive kind of dream that, by 20 years old I would be married with 4 kids. Yes, which is funny because now I just don't have any interest. I don't want kids. I've got no interest. But that age, I was like, yeah, this is what's going to happen with my life. On the induction day, the first day, when we had a chance to look around the secondary school, which was, I think it would have been sort of like maybe June, July, I can't quite remember, but it was towards the end of year 6. I made friends with a girl who shared my month of birth, July. I loved the fact that we were only a few weeks apart in age, and I was really excited because I really believed that, this was, I'd made a friend. I was really excited. I was like really happy, and the summer holidays literally brimmed with optimism, and I could not wait to see her again in September. All I could think about through the summer holidays was, I've made a friend, I was so happy. On starting school, we locked our arms together as we were best buddies, best friends, or so I assumed anyway. The girl invited me to her house in the countryside, which was near a farm, and I remember that her dad made us cheese and tomato toasted sandwiches. Yes, I always have food memories. Yep, always. On white bread while we watched television. I think we were watching Babe, but yeah, I just remember having these toasted sandwiches that our dad made for us and watching Babe. We also, later she got us some chocolate lollies from the large freezer, and we ate them while chatting in her summer house. Unfortunately, however, the friendship ended after only a few weeks. My problem with not being able to share friends and my obsessive clingy behaviour was the reason behind this failure. I felt really uncomfortable when the girl chatted to another girl. I felt excluded and feared that the other girl was stealing my friend away from me. As I mentioned in the other video, I had this possessive tendency with a girl I finally made friends with at end of primary school as well, which meant I could only be friends with one person, but unfortunately the other person wanted to be friends with other people and didn't really appreciate my possessive clinginess. So yeah, I thought she was stealing my friend away from me. And in October, year 7 went on a trip to the Isle of Wight, and I wanted to share rooms with my friend, but for some reason this was not possible. I had to share with 2 other girls instead, and the fact that my friend was sharing her room with someone else and developing a friendship with this other person made me feel threatened and anxious. And one day, during our trip, I noticed my friend walking arm in arm with this girl across the park that surrounded the hotel where we were staying, the hostel. I watched them through the hostel windows and burst into tears because I was absolutely devastated that she was like now friends with this other girl. And the teacher asked me what was wrong, but I could not explain. Shortly after this trip, my friend casually walked up to me in the school corridor and told me we were no longer friends, as, in her words, I was too clingy and followed her around everywhere. After this failed attempt at friendship, I had 2 more attempts in close succession. One girl actively befriended me herself as she saw me standing all alone by the vending machine one lunchtime. The girl invited me to her house and she came over to mine for tea as well. She gave me a folder containing handmade cards that told me that we were best buddies. However, she soon unfriended me because, according to her, I did not speak enough and I was too quiet. Yeah, it was at this age that I was first trying to actively get to grips with the social rules, and I thought that being quiet and softly spoken would make people like me, but I still had no understanding of hidden social rules, such as how to keep friends. I still have no understanding of them to this day, despite the fact that, you know, I can come across as very kind of like, people don't realise that, I guess, because I can, on first appearances, you know, because I am like very highly verbal and stuff, and I can communicate verbally pretty well, so people don't kind of like not understand or necessarily how hard it is for me to actually really understand relationships. And this has been a problem all through my life, that I'm finding like professional one-to-ones like with my support worker, because that's very kind of like controlled and delineated, but I really struggle with a more casual kind of understanding of relationships. So to this day I still basically, I only have like literally one sort of friend in inverted commas. So yeah, it's not great, my social understanding of relationships and stuff. But I was trying to mask at this age, so I tried to be quiet because I thought that was the way in, but it didn't get me anywhere. I had no idea how to like maintain conversations. I'm a lot better at that now, although it is still a very hard work. But at that age, I really struggled to like do the conversations and stuff. And at this age, like secondary school, it was becoming more about conversations, and I think friendships were changing. Like I think I found it a lot harder at this age to do the friendship thing, and you know, I struggled at primary school, but at least at primary school, you know, you could play games, like more kind of running games, you know, like teachers if you wanted to, skipping games, stuff like that. You know, things just became a lot more harder at secondary school. So yeah, your hidden rules, how do you keep friends, you know, how do you know when to get up and follow someone, when do you stay seated, you know, all those sort of things are just completely baffling. So the final attempt involved a girl who tried, so as I say, so that was the second attempt that failed because I didn't speak enough, and as I say, I was devastated. I remember throwing all the handmade cards she gave me back into the bush, and I remember crying walking over to school, so I was just so devastated. So I really did genuinely believe she was my best friend, because that's what it said on the cards. But anyway, so the final attempt involved a girl who tried to look after me. She mothered me, and I did like the fact that I could go to her if I felt confused, because she was like quite a sort of caring girl that I could go to and talk to and stuff. She sort of like protected me and stuff. But when this girl invited me to join her group of friends at lunchtime, I felt lost and totally unable to join in with the group. I gave up trying, and I ended up spending lunchtimes all alone, either locked in a toilet in an empty porter cabin classroom where I'd eat my lunch in peace and quiet, or in the library where I went on a computer and printed out Kate Winslet interviews. Obviously I was obsessed with Kate Winslet at that age, and I'd then read these while locked in the toilet. So that's kind of more or less how I spent my lunchtimes after that. So I'm now going to move on to video number 2 to carry on this overview. So moving on to video number 2 now.